Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple hours, along with Nick.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. And Spence is here.
Hello.
Hello. And Gal is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our numbers 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, DudeInIT.com, and sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So, all three of you were at the fair yesterday.
I wasn't there yesterday. I was there Tuesday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can we
So
take a moment of silence?
Two of you.
Exactly.
Two of you were.
Yeah, it was good. Great to have it back. So some semblance of normal. Props to the agricultural commissioner for not capitulating and shutting it down.
Oh, it was, you could tell. I had a chance when I was at a break from what I was doing to sit down on a bench right by Dorton Arena. And there were these two older men who came over and sat down and said, "Is that seat taken?" I said, "That's your seat." And I talking to them, and they were 79 and 80 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And were like, had always gone to the fair every year. And they said, "Oh, it's so good to be back," because they lived in Durham in a retirement village place. And they were just so happy to be back. And it was nice. It was packed. Even on a Tuesday, it was packed. So.
I still don't understand. They're saying that attendance was way down. Traveling on the Beltline, you couldn't see any kind of a backup. And looking down at Hillsborough Street from the Beltline, you normally see a lot of cars there that Hillsborough Street is backed up. None of this. And then yesterday, suddenly, bam, everybody was complaining that they could,
well, it's the last weekend. I mean, it closes, Monday?
No,
today.
Today's the last day.
Yeah, today's the last day. So, yeah, you had a bunch of people that wanted to get out there, and
it was perfect weather for it, too.
Oh, it was gorgeous. I got out there we left here about 10:15 and got up there just right around 12:30, and we had to park all the way over at PNC because that was the only parking. So it was about a 20-minute walk from PNC past Carter Finley under the tunnel. But from car to admission to ticket to inside was probably about an hour and 15 minutes, which is to be expected. And then once you got inside, and I'm sure God can attribute to this, everything, even every food place, every ride had lines out the ass. It was busy, but it's to be expected. I mean, I saw a bunch of people complaining about it. It's like, have you never been to a fair before? And this is what it is. Like you got, large families or large groups of 8 or 9 people ordering food. Yeah, it's a slow process, but you're there to enjoy it. Come on, just get over it. What are you going to do?
As you print up
people go at 8 o'clock on a damn Monday morning if you don't want people to be there. Don't go on a weekend and complain about it.
You should make up some fake IDs that say Express Pass.
Like Disney World?
State Fair Express Pass. And I have an Express Pass. I go to the front of the line. What are you talking about? Oh, no, I paid extra for this. See if you could use it.
I'm glad they don't do that. I mean, obviously it's kind of weird. The fair is the responsibility of a public entity in North Carolina, the state agricultural department. And And I mean, it's very affordable. Tickets are what, $13 if you buy them at the gate, $8 if you buy them ahead of time. The food is a little expensive as you would expect, but it's not an unaffordable thing, which is good. It shouldn't be if they're a damn public department of that we pay for. So
somebody mentioned, I don't know if it was here last week, that you can go just to eat.
you don't have to buy tickets. We didn't do
Yeah,
rides.
well, you have to pay $10 to get in.
There's entrance fee.
Entrance
there's always
fee, and then
entrance
they
fee.
give it back to you if
yeah,
you come out at a certain time.
In the past, if you would go in and leave in less than, I don't remember if it was an hour and a half or 2 hours, then you can get the entrance fee refunded.
Right.
And that means you can do a lunch stop, right? You go in for lunch, leave, and you don't need to pay the entrance fee.
And you can just keep doing that. Go in.
You can
stay
try.
for 2 hours, leave, and come back in again. Stay for 2 hours.
So my
and leave.
question-
In the middle of the week when there's no lines, it might make sense, right?
It's an expensive
you
lunch,
could-
though.
No, I
$9 hot dog is an expensive
But,
lunch.
but from what you guys are saying, would you be able to get out? I mean, go in, stand in line, wait for the food, maybe go and get 2 different foods, and you're out of time because
Maybe.
according to what you're
on a
saying,
weekday,
it's
yes.
interesting.
Maybe.
Early on a weekday, let's say you went in there at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday,
Mhm.
I'm sure it is very, very subdued.
You just show them your receipt. I just bought food, and the time is on it. Okay.
Huh. Do they still do that?
I don't know. That's possible. That would
Sounds
be
like
one
more
way to
work
do
than
it.
it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to argue
Anyway.
with a. Yeah. So it was good. I'm glad it was back. Good. Glad on because the governor was not a fan of what the agricultural commissioner was doing, but he held strong on it. So props to him.
I had some business with the Agricultural Commission years ago, and we were trying to put wireless mesh on the fairgrounds. So I had to go to a couple of meetings and explain and then
Yeah, I
work with the
remember
team. We did a trial, actually climbed up on the top of Dorton Arena, walked up to the top, literally, and installed antennas up there. And met the people we work with were good. I mean, they were, I'm sure they're not around anymore, but the people that we worked with were, they admitted we're a bureaucracy and we have to do things a certain way, but we actually did install a trial over there.
Yeah, the Agricultural Commission North Carolina is good. It's a good group. The head of it is a great guy.
All right, so Nick,
What's up?
being in radio and involved in all this, what did you hear or see or felt from that Sinclair ransom that shut down a whole bunch?
Yeah, nothing on the. I don't think Sinclair operates any radio stations, but on a television side, I was watching it. It's whatever happened to them. It was severe enough that it took down. There are when you can centralize things as a large company, you save exorbitantly cost wise, right?
Mhm.
If you can centralize things like the easy things are email, for example, right? You have everybody in your company on one Office 365 instance or something like that. It's a whole lot cheaper than having each individual market having its own 365 instance. Centralize IT. But when you centralize things like playback, your news, your ETG, electronic EENG, electronic news gathering services, all of those things, cut down on costs, that's great. But when they're centrally managed and located and you get a massive ransom attack, it seemed like every Sinclair station across the country, which I believe Sinclair is I want to say they're the largest television operator in terms of stations and markets they own. It's them and Nexstar that are the 2 biggest.
Yeah, they said that they own and operate more than 600 channels across the country.
Yeah, I think they are the largest. If not, they're very close to number 2. Yeah, they had a huge ransomware attack, and it essentially locked their employees out of their email, their software that they use for playback, and it's called you build a log when you're television or radio. A log is what tells the playout software, tells the automation software what to play all day, what shows, what commercials. You build a log. So each and every day you have to build a log to tell it what to play. That
Right.
system apparently was also compromised some of their news gathering, their teleprompter systems. So you had a lot of television stations that were doing paper reads with one camera to just try and get something on the air. It was from what I read, it was an absolute disaster. I'm sure you have some more details.
Yeah, they said it was pandemonium. Pandemonium.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it
But,
was. I mean, you've
they
got
were
all
saying
these
that-
stations.
One current employee who asked to remain anonymous, told Motherboard that Sinclair has released very few details about the attack since it was hacked. Which I agree with that. Don't go and tell everybody what exactly happened, because you don't know what exactly happened. And they shut down their servers and their employees' PCs.
Yeah, because
for 2 days.
I'm sure it's a
So-
centralized domain.
Right.
So when you lose your domain, if you don't have a local domain and
Right.
your everything's VPN tunneled together.
So hopefully they'll learn from it, and others will learn from this and say, okay, now, we want to centralize, but maybe there is a more efficient way to do it to protect also against something like this. And I'm wondering, I mean, they say, the employees were not told what's going on. Well, I'm sure somehow.
What the hell are the employees going to do?
Well, it's that's what I'm saying. First of all, it's none of their business, and I'm wondering if it was an employee that was the actual weak link.
I'm sure it was, because it was.
So
9 out of 10 times, it's an employee that just clicked on something he shouldn't, got an email and clicked on something he shouldn't. Right? It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been noted that the tool that compromised them is a well-known Russian group that does these large ransomware
are
attacks.
evil. Yeah.
Evil Corp is their name.
And there is another interesting article about them that apparently they were the organization itself, are evil, was hacked and forced offline last week by a multi-country operation, according to 3 private sector cyber experts working with the United States and one former official. Former partners and associates of the Russian-led criminal gang were responsible for a May cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline. Victims include top meat packer JBS, the crime group Happy Blog website, which has been used to leak victims' data and extort companies, is no longer available. Officials said the Colonial attack used encryption software called DarkSide, which was developed by REvil. Their ransomware gang restored the infrastructure from the backups under the assumption that they had not been compromised. So here's what's important here. This is according to Oleg Skulkin, deputy head of forensics lab at Russian-led security company Group IB. Ironically, the gang's own favorite tactic of compromising the backups was turned against them. He says reliable backups are one of the most important defenses against ransomware attacks, but they must be kept unconnected from the main network, or they too can be encrypted by extortionists such as RE. So it's very important to have your backup not connected to the network. Now it can be done. it's a lot of work. It may not be very easy to maintain. Like when I
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Just not being on the network could also mean having it on a separate segregated VLAN that is not
Yes.
accessible
Yep.
from the network. That doesn't mean go
That
and pull
may-
the network cable out of it.
but
Or not connected to the network could also be off-site. It's not
offsite,
technically
absolute.
connected to your network.
True.
So
I-
there are ways to do it, but you're right. It's a huge pain in the ass if you've got a separate VLAN that's you're holding your backups and to try to get everything to talk to that VLAN, but not have them have access to the VLAN if you get compromised.
Yeah.
That's why networking engineers make boku bucks, because stuff like that is incredibly complicated.
Oh, God can do that. But I
Come on,
do-
Gal. VLANing and networking, that stuff is a whole nother. I mean, that's a
I'm
whole
not
bear.
taking
in
that
itself.
on.
No, that
I
is.
mean, I might be able to pull it off after, I don't know, a month of not sleeping, but I wouldn't trust it. So
the thing about the backups is I do multiple backups off-site and to different drives, but I also I clone
yeah, but you do
my main drive.
SneakerNet
What?
backups.
A what?
SneakerNet. Don't know what a SneakerNet is?
Oh, SneakerNet, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when I do the clone, I have another drive in the machine, in my machine. I mean, it's not for the network, it's for my computer. It's disconnected. I connect the drive, and then I do the clone, and then I disconnect the drive.
Yeah, it's called high bandwidth, high latency backup.
Very high latency. I mean, now when I'm thinking about it, probably the last clone is probably 6-7 months. I mean, in the beginning it was on regular basis, but you just
Don't say that on the air.
oh, it's fine. I've got others.
Now the
It's fine.
ransomware attacker are
Yeah,
gonna target you.
Bring it on. But the thing is, it's you have to have backups that are good, because you can't. This is why many times it's not just because of ransom. It's because if you have one backup, you don't know if it's good or not. You need to have
Yeah,
multiple
no,
in
but
order
not
to
only
be
that,
safe.
you need to actually test
Yeah,
restoration,
restore something. Yeah.
right? That's the most important part of a backup plan is the restore test. If
That's
you
why
don't know that you can how to restore the data, it's useless. So,
that's why I like Acronis, because they're part of their backup strategy. They say you can do a clone, that's okay, but we'd prefer that you did a full backup and restore to move to a new drive. And I thought that was pretty clever, and I tried it, and it worked. So
Wait,
what you do
wait.
is you do a full image of the drive,
Mm-hmm.
and then you build your new drive from the image, so that you're actually saying my image is good. So
So when you do the backup, it's actually does
No,
a
you don't-
clone, but it
you
doesn't.
can do a clone. You can do a clone if you want to, but
Wait.
they say
Hold it. When you're cloning it, it's cloning it, but not to the
No.
drive.
no,
And
I
once
didn't
it's
say-
done, then it writes the drive.
I didn't say that. I said you can clone it if you want to, a traditional clone. It'll
Yeah.
copy directly to the other drive.
Right.
But what they suggest is they say to really verify that this works, do an image of the drive and then restore the image to the new drive.
Okay,
Then you
well, that's what
know-
I mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. But it's not they don't, you can just click on the clone button and it'll go. But it does pop up and say, we suggest
And is
you
that
do this other process.
and that's an automatic thing when you do an image? It's or that
No. They just pop up a thing that says, we suggest that you do
Okay.
this more reliable to verify that your image is good. Do this. If you're doing a mass production thing and you don't care,
Yeah.
if you're cloning,
yeah.
depends on what you're cloning. But I did that the first time, and it's like it was good because I had to practice going through the restore process and making sure it worked.
But there's something interesting to note. Backing up and doing that stuff for you guys versus doing that for a company like Sinclair. It's just not
Oh
possible.
yeah, no, that's two different things.
And that's part of what for, I have a single drive here on a single computer. For me to image and back that up is not that big of a task. But for a company like Sinclair, it's just not an option. I mean, you'd have guys that you'd have to pay full time to literally just sit there and image machines all day, every day on a 24-hour revolving schedule.
Yeah.
And plus you can't do an image. It requires you to shut a machine down. Right. And that in itself is a problem. What are you going to do? Shut down your domain server every single day or your file server so that you can image it? It's just not realistic. So it's those traditional types of, like Spence was saying, back it up to a drive, separate drive. That stuff is great for consumer, but no industry can do that. It's impossible.
No, but you could image the drive to another drive. Then, because you can do that without rebooting or without restarting. And then that drive is going to be the source of the backup. So you can do that as many times as you want. It's
correct,
a lot of work.
But again, how often? But again, talk about a company. They own 600 television stations.
Yeah.
You'd be running clones and backups constantly. It's just not feasible.
True.
I don't know what most companies do today with their employees, and they give them a machine. But I was part of a community of engineers that we just did this on our own. We didn't expect the company to back our stuff. They didn't. There was no cloud backup for our stuff. We had to back it up. And I remember one of the guys that I worked with, we sat down and said, well, we need to have a backup strategy for our engineering documents, because if we lose this stuff. What the nice thing was you did have a cloud drive that you could back it up to, but that doesn't mean they did it. So,
and there's services now. The one I worked with when I was working in the managed service provider field was a service called Datto, DATTO, and they are they're built for business. It's a physical appliance that you install in your your premise, and you install an agent that backs up the machine constantly. It runs at the root level, or the kernel level, so it always backs it up. So I'm sure that's something of that. I think,
but it's connected. But it's connected to the network.
It is connected to the network, but it's an appliance. So the idea that could get crypto lockered is probably pretty low, I would guess. I think that would be quite the thing to try and crypto locker, because it's not it's a Linux box running something. But I mean, there's other services like that too, but that's kind of the solution that businesses use, these appliances. You have to use an appliance for it. You can't do this stuff manually. But the problem you run into is these backups are great, but if you're talking about, in the case of a news gathering operation, terabytes worth of data,
think about
your recovery time is not quick. Even though some of that stuff is stored locally, a lot of it is stored in the Datto cloud, and you have to have a machine to run it on, right? You have to have a root. You have to have, I'm sure Sinclair has more than one domain, one AD server, right? I mean, I'm sure they've got dozens of AD servers that handle logons and things of that nature. You have to have, so what do? You have a whole fleet of spare machines that just sit off and wait for you to be compromised. That doesn't, business wise, that's not an investment that a company is going to make realistically. So even having the backup, sometimes the backup is great, but if you don't have a place to put the backup or to host the backup, if you've got compromised machines, the backup is useless. What are you going to do? Run it on a laptop? You run your Windows AD on a laptop? That's not going to work. So that's the part of backup that I don't think is covered all that much. Is okay, great, you're compromised, you have a backup. What the hell do you do with your backup?
You got to believe though that this is making people think about it.
And they should.
And they're looking, and if they haven't been hit yet, and they say, well, what do we do if we do get hit? If they have responsible people who are thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like having a fire alarm in your house, but no homeowner's insurance.
I think just the
Great.
solution, Nick.
There's
is
a
you
fire,
need to
but what do you do with it?
You need to design a product that's based on distributed Raspberry Pis that just mirror image everything and just have them everywhere throughout the enterprise. And
That's
that way,
going to
that's
be
the backup.
that's going to be expensive now because the Raspberry Pi
Well, this stuff
just
is not
went up.
cheap.
Yeah, no, and it went
This
up.
stuff, yeah, I mean, these services, I'm trying to remember back when we were doing our managed IT stuff, these devices that you rented from Datto were hundreds of dollars a month, and that covered both the physical device and the cloud storage. And then, of course, they paid us to, to make, there was a nominal fee on top of it for us to manage and maintain the device. So for a large enterprise, I mean, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars a month. You could be on backups, and you should, especially if you've got that much data.
But it's probably a lot cheaper than a ransom. And
it's 100% a lot cheaper than a ransom.
And you
just hope for the best.
Right. No, and
in most cases it works. I mean, we talk about ransom, but how many companies actually get ransom? A couple of big companies, a couple a year.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like insurance. That's what it is. You buy insurance, you pay the premium, and you hope that nothing will happen.
Yeah.
But I actually like the fact that companies will have to develop their own way of doing it. If they will pay somebody to sit there and come up with a strategy, because if you have something that everybody's doing the same, that's another path that the bad actors can take. They say, okay, let's assume that they're doing that, so now we're going to attack them this way too. But if you come up with your own strategy, there's no way for them to know what you're doing. So you have a better chance of surviving.
But let me play the flip side.
Yeah.
There is, for a business, a large business, let's call it an enterprise, because that's what a group like Sinclair is. And then for an enterprise, and I think Gal can attest to this, buying services that you don't have to worry about having somebody on staff that knows it tried and true and can maintain it and manage it is very lucrative for a business.
Sure.
These guys, their full-time job at Datto is handling data recovery and backups. And when you do something like that, roll your own thing in-house, you are now incumbent on probably a single individual that knows that service, manages that service, and handles that service. What if that person gets hit by a bus?
Right. That's true.
That's just as bad as not having it at all. That's
true.
why these SAS services the SAS companies are so sought after, because it's literally like their full-time job is handling backups and things of that nature. They're going to do it a million times better than anybody you could pay in-house to do it. That's why SAS is so popular right now.
Good point. Very good point. Yeah.
I've got a question, if we can switch topics.
Go.
Hey, Gal.
Yeah.
So I've got fire alarms in my house, right? Regular, like $20 or $30 fire alarms from Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. But if I'm not home and my fire alarm goes off, that's a problem. Do you use a internet connected fire alarm, or what is the solution for that? Because we're talking about the ransom thing. That's kind of the same thing. You have a fire alarm at your house, but if nobody's home to call 911, nothing's happening until the flames are shooting out of your window and a neighbor sees it. So what do you do about that?
There's three options. One is you pay a company like ADP or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're hooked up to the system. You're paying a monthly fee and all that. The other one is you replace the fire alarms with something else that is connected. I used the Z-Wave solution from First Alert. It was $35 a unit, and you need a Z-Wave hub, a Z-Wave hub. The
First Alert makes them. That's great. They're a good brand.
Yeah.
Because I've got First Alert units right now, but they're just the regular.
Still, you need to set up a Z-Wave hub. You need to hook it up. You need to make sure you get the alert. If you want if you do want to alert the authorities automatically, you need to find a solution for that, right? And the third option is if your detector uses 9-volt battery, then there's a company called, I think, Scoop. I'll check in a second the name, and they make they make a module, an electronic module. Its size is a 9-volt battery. The battery is actually shortened a bit, and there's an electronic circuit at the end, and you set it up with your phone, and that is connected to your Wi-Fi, and it reacts to the sound of the alarm. So when the
Okay.
alarm starts to play that high-pitched sound, the battery, basically the module inside the battery, detects that, sends a signal over Wi-Fi, and your phone gets an alert.
That was, I
Actually,
know that's,
there's one additional option, and that's just setting up your Amazon Echo. It has some sort of it detects that sound.
Oh,
They
really?
have that service.
Yeah.
Yeah, just check in your Amazon Echo Alexa
That's-
app.
that's an offering now for places like Simply Safe. They have a smoke alarm. You have a detector that will listen for the smoke alarm and then send an alert. You can tell it to decide what to do with when it gets that alert.
Huh.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll check out the Amazon one first because that sounds like that's
Yeah.
that's
I
already.
forgot about it. As I was speaking, I
So
remember.
with that, I guess you could have because the Amazon device can make a call. I wonder if you could have it call you because I know that the Amazon can make calls through something. All right. Well, I guess I'll set that up and I'll go light a match next to my fire alarm and see what it does.
Well, it does also detect like glass breaking and
break.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So,
I did
Okay.
a project for a customer I have who's blind, and it wasn't an issue until his girlfriend moved out and he was in this place by himself. But I installed 11 Nest smoke alarms in his house because he's blind. It can say, it'll
Right.
send an audio message out to the other alarms. Smoke detected in your bedroom, smoke detected in the kitchen, or wherever it is. It's great, but it was really expensive.
yeah,
To
it's
install.
$200 a pop. It's
Yeah.
expensive. Yeah.
Very expensive.
Hey, Gal?
But it was cool.
Yeah.
It did the
Yeah,
job.
I
Guy,
agree.
you gave me these.
Yeah, exactly that. I gave you all of those.
Yeah.
Roost.
Put yourself big, Amnon. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the reason there's a tab there is because it
The
hasn't
battery.
been initiated yet, and so the battery isn't. Take off the bottom part. It's actually just take it off.
What is it called?
You'll see. Roost.
Roast?
Yeah. So that's the circuit at the end, right?
And that's
And that's the battery pack. It actually has a speaker. Yeah, show the side. There's a hole. Yeah. So that's the microphone and speaker there. The way it pairs to your Wi-Fi, it's via your phone. It actually makes out modular sound, like a fax machine or a modem, and that's how it communicates with your phone at the beginning, and that's how you provided the connect to it over Wi-Fi, and then set it up over Wi-Fi. It's a very interesting very simple piece of intermediary technology, right? It's not supposed to live forever, but it's a nice
It's all
solution.
Wi-Fi? It's all
based on
Wi-Fi?
Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the
That's
Amazon
cool.
one. It's called Guard, and it looks for broken glass and that. The only thing I'm curious about is you have to set your Alexa to guard. You have to set it home or away. But I'm wondering if it's
Yeah,
just
but
set
you
to
can do it
smoke alert.
automatically.
But I think you could have it. But I think you could set it to always be away. If you're just checking for smoke and broken glass, it doesn't really matter if your device is always guarding for it. That doesn't seem like it would be a problem, even if you're home.
Well, if you're watching an action movie, it can trigger it on.
Yeah, which again isn't as long as it's not
Yeah.
automatically calling 911. I guess it really doesn't matter if it's just sending you a notification.
Yeah, if it's just
how often
to
are you
yeah.
watching? How often are you having smoke alarm sound effects going off in your house?
Smoke
I
alarm,
could test it
no,
right now. I could
but,
open up
but breaking glass, loud. It's
Breaking glass
basically
could be a
very
problem.
loud noises. I think it's not just these.
Well, there's a
right?
frequency
So-
for that. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you're clanging pots. You drop something in the sink and it doesn't break, but
Exactly.
2 pieces of glass clink and it, you know.
Yeah, but from what I understood from Gal, that thing will go in your current.
Correct.
Smoke
Well,
alarm.
but this Amazon thing, if you've got Alexa's, if you've got A-words through your houses, that's that I don't know how good it works. I'm going to test it right here. I'll
The
just play a
only
smoke alarm on my
thing that you need to
computer.
worry about is if you have something that's going to call emergency service.
Calling is yes. That if you're looking for something to call, you need to get Simply Safe or ADP. Realistically,
Yeah,
that's
because
something that's guaranteed to work. Again, why
It's
do we
not a-
look at SAS
it-
versus rolling your own solution? That's what those guys do. That's literally the service they provide.
and it's not a matter of just to make sure that it works. If you get your own dialer and stuff, if there are false calls, I think they let 1 or 2 go by, but then they're going to charge you.
As they should, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not based on ADP. That's based on the municipality.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
if you set off your security system at work and the police show up by
Yeah.
accident, or then you could be culpable and have
so
to pay
that's
for that.
that's what you save when you go with a paid service.
But see, this is interesting. So Amazon also has a service called Guard Plus, which I'm looking at, and that allows you for emergency helpline, which allows you, I guess,
Probably
it can
their own
call
version
on,
of 911. Yeah.
it can call on your behalf. That's interesting. So if you're using that for its full, I'm just trying to see how this thing works. Yeah, I just don't know what it does. Alexa can send you notifications to your phone to let you know.
Does Roost's battery, is it just a 9-volt battery, or do they actually make something that is the equivalent of the
It's the
double
double
A's.
A. No, the only
No.
solution is the 9-volt battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it's a lot of batteries, a lot of smoke detectors are now
Yeah.
backed up with
Mine
AA batteries
is,
too.
yeah.
The other thing is I look here in insurance solutions. Now this is very interesting because this is aimed, it actually says on their page, the policyholder experience. And it says, it talks about their garage door sensor, sends a notification to your policyholder's smartphone. So this is targeting insurance companies.
Well, they
They're-
would want
they're
to know. They don't want your
yeah.
whole damn house to burn down. They don't want to have
No,
to deal
but
with
I
that.
mean, this is great. I have
Yeah.
a customer who had multiple leaks of their hot water heater. First time it leaked, the insurance company paid. Second time it leaked in the same place. I said, unless you put in water detectors, we're going to drop your policy. So they had to put in sensors.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is probably what this came out of, was people who have, recurring issues that they want to keep remain with the same insurance company. Interesting.
Well, when Spence does specials, I'll I'll leave the call for a second and try and trigger this thing and see what it does. I'm curious what it'll do.
All right.
How
'Cause
they
that's
call
great. I mean,
those
you know, a
videos
lot of-
over YouTube.
What'd you say?
Those, how they call those video over YouTube when you see the SWAT coming in?
Oh, the swatting. Yeah.
I was just
Well,
going to
yeah,
say that
I'm gonna
you'll
just play
suddenly
something
start
off the
getting
computer.
volunteer firemen breaking all your windows to get in the house.
Yeah. But that's great. And I'm sure I would not be surprised if Google has something similar. I don't know that they do, but I would be shocked if they did.
Yeah, well, let us know.
Interesting. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate
right.
it.
Now, did you hear this piece of news? There's a company that's going to change the name next week to reflect
Yes.
it. Facebook is going to change its name.
I don't think so.
Well, I don't know. It says Facebook is planning to change the company name next week to reflect its focus on building the metaverse. That's coming from The Verge.
Well,
The
Facebook
site
They're
is
is-
gonna
still
pull
gonna
an
be
alphabet.
Facebook. It's like, yeah, exactly. It's like Google and Alphabet. Yeah.
Google changed their corporate name to Alphabet, but Google is still Google. They're not going to change the name. If they change the name of Facebook, that would arguably be the stupidest thing they could possibly do.
No, that will be
Facebook
the
is one of the
greatest
most
thing in the
known
world,
brands in
man.
the world.
Yeah, but that will be the greatest thing in the world. We'll start healing finally.
It says
Change
that
it to
the
Zuckerbook. Changes it to Zuckerbook.
the coming name change, which CEO Mark Zuckerberg plans to talk about at the company's annual Connect conference on October 28th, but could unveil sooner, is meant to signal the tech giant's ambition to be known for more than social media and all the ills that entails. The rebrand would likely position the Blue Facebook app as one of the many products under a parent company overseeing groups like Instagram, WhatsApp, Oculus, and more. So yeah, it's sort of like what Google did with Alphabet.
So instead of Facebook, it'll be faceless. It'll be
No,
something
they're-
creepy, right? We know it. So
It's going to be called Face Plant.
or fake book.
Fake book. That would be good.
Hey,
would be
that's
a good
good.
Yeah,
Well,
That's good. That's right.
anonymous face.
well, let's face it. The core business of the company is advertising.
Oh, you got it. Let's face
that's
it.
That's all it. Yeah. Let's face it.
Now, I don't
Ah.
use Pinterest. I don't know. I have no use for it, but I know a lot of people do. So PayPal is exploring an acquisition of social media company Pinterest. That's from Bloomberg. It says the San Jose, California-based PayPal has recently approached Pinterest about potential deal, asking not to be identified because the talks are private. The companies have discussed a potential price of around $70 a share, which would value Pinterest at roughly $39 billion.
It's a bargain.
Sounds about right.
I-
Pinterest is huge.
I mean, what? Yeah, but what would be PayPal's interest in Pinterest? That's
Data.
what I'm trying to.
Converting it to a
What
fee-based.
data?
Converting it to a fee-based service.
Well, let's think about this. No, I don't even think that. Let's think. So PayPal, they do targeted advertising for shopping.
Mhm.
Pinterest, a lot of what Pinterest is people hinting
Yeah.
and looking at things that they're interested in buying. This could be an interesting way for them to, not get a one up, but to get a, I don't know what you call it, for them to gain more information about.
Better triangulation of data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because any online retailer except for what Amazon supports PayPal. I mean, there's literally everybody, and most people use it as their sole processor. You can either pay with a debit or credit card through PayPal or pay through PayPal directly. They're in the business of knowing what people are buying.
Yeah.
They're essentially a bank. I mean, they're a bank. They're
They
a
are.
virtual bank.
Yeah, they are.
Credit cards and everything. They're a bank.
Aren't they? Part of their organizations, they are chartered as a bank.
Oh, yeah,
not
I'm sure.
They're not just using another bank as an agent. They are, in fact, the bank.
I mean, let's put
Yeah.
it this way: PayPal is not stupid, and if
No.
they
Well,
want that,
That's not necessarily true. But
and if they want this, then there must be a good reason. You
Yeah,
don't go.
I think
Yeah,
this would
that's why I'm trying to understand what.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't use it. I don't know what from
Well,
a
it's
user.
basically an elaborate bookmark collector, right? That's the way the process of using it. But yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not using it either. I mean, I know how it works. I've played with it, but last time I opened something in Pinterest is years.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Pinterest is the 27th most visited website on the internet worldwide.
Wow.
Yeah.
is if you want to know how to relace your sneakers, Pinterest is the place to go.
Yeah, there's lots of I that's an interesting thing. I've never had an account, but especially if you're a DIYer or something of that nature, there's a lot of very cool projects and whatnot on Pinterest. And people make a lot of money on Pinterest because they can essentially make it their own blog. And you can market things on your blog with things like Amazon referral links. People live full time off of making money on Pinterest.
I've used it for ideas. When I have an idea of I want to see what other people do to solve a problem, and I'll go out there and look and see some very clever ideas. Yeah.
They have an estimated 500 plus million active users a month. So what was the price tag? 37 billion. That's quite that's quite the steal.
I never looked at Pinterest as anything other than a resource, really, because I don't have anything to put up there. And I hope it doesn't change, because to me, it was just a safe place to go to look at ideas.
Yeah.
And very, very clever things that people do.
Here's another stat for you. Between October 2020 and March of 2021, Pinterest had 1.22 billion total website visits. That's an insane amount of traffic.
Yeah.
And the big thing is their audience is predominantly female, which is something that most websites and most things that are targeted are not. Like, for example, if you look at YouTube, the majority of YouTube's audience is male. It's very hard for advertisers reaching a female-only audience is not a female-only, but a majority female audience is a very tough thing. And that's a group that spends a lot of money. My mother just texted me, "I love Pinterest." There you go.
So they're not buying a lot of tools women aren't buying a lot of tools from Pinterest.
I'm sure they're buying some stuff, but I mean, you look at for example, you go onto a YouTuber and look at their statistics, it'll be 98% male. For an advertiser, that's great, but how do you reach that female audience that has as much buying power, if not more than a male audience? That's a very lucrative group to be able to get in front of.
Oh, yeah, that's a good reason right there.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I don't think PayPal would do anything like start charging for it. I don't think that they wouldn't. That doesn't seem like PayPal's business model.
Well, they could come up with some optional service that might
they
be
could, but would they recoup nearly $40 billion on it,
or have some type of a referral payment service that they take over and they get a piece of the action?
That right there is that's it right there. Because at the end of the day, PayPal is not in the business of selling little trinky-dink products. They're in the process of processing payments, because that is a very lucrative thing to do.
Sure.
So that's what they want to do.
Have an option for Pinterest users that show stuff to do the retail sale through them.
Exactly. Now there you go. That's worth $40 billion.
Yeah. Yep.
That's very, very interesting.
Yep, and the number is interesting too.
I'm honestly surprised it's not higher. That seems low.
I think there's also
there's a supply chain shortage.
It's just an atmosphere now of VC money is not. I mean, if you track the way investments go, VC money is not in a great spot now for finding lots of capital. So maybe there just isn't that much money available.
No. Anyway, Spencer, are you ready for special?
I am. And I have to say today that as I went into specials, I actually started on time, 7:00. But I ran into so much trouble with trying to deal with Best Buy's webpage.
That's all right, but you did it.
I threw in no, I didn't. I didn't use it.
You didn't use just Best Buy. That's too bad for them.
I didn't use Best Buy. Yeah, because it was not a smooth. I look for easy ways. They used to be the best one because they had everything formatted in a almost square box that I could cut and paste into the document easily. Now to use Best Buy, it's literally 2 cut and pastes per product because I have to take the image and then the description and maybe other information like the price.
All right, so
Because
let's
it's not
go.
all
Let's
part-
go.
or whatever. Okay. So today be like, right? You're in a spacesuit, you're walking on the moon, and my nose is itching. What do? That's what it feels like every day. And I love this thing with the blind pilot. I know that they did this in an airport at one time just as a gag. I hope the guy didn't get fired, because it would have been it depends on the airline, I guess. That would be, they would either find that funny or you would be out the door quick. So, all righty. Now, interesting, Staples, most of the stuff that they show in their ad, at least online, they still do have the kind of a weird paper ad format that you can look at. In store only. Most of the things that were on sale were labeled in store only. That's ISO, right?
Yeah,
If
they're
you're
trying to
wondering.
get people to come in the store.
It's not International Standards Organization. It's in store only. But the deals are pretty good. So the other thing about Best Buy that I noticed is I'm looking at the prices and I'm like, this isn't that great. It was comparative to what I was looking at here. It's just their pricing on some items that you would expect to see a good sale on, which just wasn't that attractive. So, okay. With starting with Staples, we've got a Lenovo IdeaPad i5 with a Core i7 for $699, which is 170 off. Now, I only started checking Windows 11 upgrades further into this, so that's why it doesn't say anything on these products, whether it's eligible or not. But I'm pretty sure if it's a relatively new machine, you can go and find, just by clicking on the description or the specifications, it will say, at least Staples did this, at the bottom of the page, Windows 11 free upgrade. So
the oldest CPUs supported in the Windows 11 list are from 2017. So
yeah,
I would think it's okay.
you are right. Yeah.
Yeah, I know because mine is 2016 and it's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing with
So I
my
checked.
Lenovo. It's
Yeah.
So, all right. Got an Asus Core i5, a laptop for $529. We save 160. Got an i3 Asus for $299. Attractive price, minus 150 off. This seems like a good deal to me. It's a 24-inch HP curved gaming monitor for $159, which is 80 off. Eventually, someday I'm going to pull the trigger on a curved monitor just because I think they're so cool. Not that it's really all that helpful. What I'd like to do in my current environment, I have two 24-inch screens. I need to switch to a 32-inch television just for one screen, because dealing with moving things between screens is difficult.
So 32-inch, there's no 4K panels. So you need to go to 42-inch. Those
42?
exist. Yeah.
Yeah,
32-inch is still a monitor if you want high resolution, if you want good resolution. Sarid, one of our friend and listener, he went through this process. He couldn't fit a 42-inch on his desk, and he needed to find a decent 32-inch one. And it costs more than a 42-inch TV.
Really?
So,
wow.
yeah.
Yeah. You just walk around Walmart and you see the stuff that's out on the aisle for 4K TVs
but
and the prices. No, I'm just saying from a
Right.
price perspective.
No,
They
you're
are
right. You're right.
It's incredible. I mean, I realize the quality might not be there, the actual
The
image
quality is
itself.
there. I'm using a 42-inch, like the cheapest I could find, 4K TV as a monitor. And I am not looking back. This is the best choice I've ever made, because it's one cohesive area where you're using it, and it's the size of 4 monitors, right? So you can play with the window size however you want, and it's great. And
Yeah,
with
and
with the tools I can recommend on a couple of freeware software, you get to actually manage the windows properly and easily, right? And it makes it usable. So
Gal told me about this when I needed a new monitor, and he said, just get a 42-inch. And I did. And just like you said, it was the cheapest thing at the time. And it is great.
What brand is it?
it doesn't matter.
I think it's a
Find anything.
TCL or I don't know. I don't even know what.
TCL, Sharp, JVC, whatever's the cheapest at
Yeah.
the time.
Walmart has a brand. I think it's ONN or OAN.
That'll be
And-
okay.
Yeah.
And most of them come with Roku built in, so you also get
Yeah,
the
you can-
smart TV if you really want it. Yeah.
I think this would help me because sometimes I have eye strain when I have an all white background, like with these ads that I'm looking at. By the end of, I'm looking at my screen now, my eyes are fine. But when I'm staring at that screen for 2 hours, my eyes just start to go out of focus.
That's
with the white
everybody.
background.
Everybody's
Oh.
like.
Yeah, no, I realize. And my eyes are
And
old,
if you
know.
want to do it quick, because I've got another
Prices are gonna
story
go up.
here. The prices of TVs, the low end ones, are going up, up, up. So
Yeah,
we'll talk about it later. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Keep
I'll
going.
jump on it. I need to do it now before the prices go up.
Yeah. Black Friday.
My TV could be sitting on a ship out in Los Angeles Harbor right now. So we don't know. All right. So I've got an Asus 15.6 inch. It did say Core i3, Windows 11 upgrade capable, but $299, $150 off. Now it only is 4 gig of memory, so you'd probably want to upgrade it. It's only a 128 gig SSD. So depending on what you're doing, you might want to upgrade it. But this is a good deal. This is a new machine. So a new model. Got a Lenovo Idea Center 5 desktop computer, Core i5 for $499, which is $100 off. Got an AOC 24-inch monitor, $139. If it's a true 24, it seems that most of them are like 23 point something. And there's a big difference in price. I don't know why. It's from 24 down to, if you go down to 23 or 21, that's when you can start to get close to $100. But you're still talking 120 to 140 for a 24-inch monitor. Roku streaming stick, 4K for $34.99, which is $10 off. We've got a Seagate Backup Plus 4 terabyte external desktop hard drive. This is the one with 2 USB sharing ports in the front. I have the 4, I have the 8. I think I have the 8 version of this. And that's where I share my flash drives. If I want to put flash drives on the network and leave them out there, I plug them in here, which is very handy. Just extends it out. This will, I have this, the way I do it is I have this plugged into my router.
That's what
And then I
do.
have the flash drives plugged into this, and it will internally share them on the network, which is great.
Mhm.
So it's pretty cool. 109, which is 5 off. A Seagate One Touch 2 terabyte portable USB for $66.99. That's very good for a 2 terabyte. And it's the One Touch, which is the upgrade. It's not the basic drive. Got a TP-Link Archer Wi-Fi 6 AX3000 router, dual band router for $129.99, which is 10 off. See a lot of stuff. The AX is out there now. The prices are coming down. You can get an AX $100. I don't know that would be a sale, but they are out there. And if you go with the same brand like TP-Link and you have a way of wiring these up in your house, so you have a cable going to 2 routers near your house, and you turn on their fast roaming feature between the 2 routers, just like a mesh. Works the same, works on signal strength. You can move around the house and it will jump from one to the other seamlessly, which is nice. And printers continue to be an issue with price. I haven't seen anything below $100 on sale. There's nothing below $100 just as a base machine that I could find. But HP Envy 6455E all-in-one for $159. It's really not even a sale. It's, just
It's
a
an
regular
inkjet,
price.
though.
Inkjet. Yes, that's correct. It's an inkjet. Oh, by the way, I got my first low toner message from my Dell Color Laser. How long have I had it now? Like 4 years.
Yeah.
I don't use it much. I mean, I do use it, but I don't use it as I print mostly in black and white, just because it's there's no need to print in color. But when I do,
Mm-hmm.
so all right, that's it for Staples. Now going to Office Max. I think every PC that I put up here is Windows 11 upgradable for free. Obviously, it's for free, but so starting with, we've got a Lenovo IdeaPad 17.3-inch Core i3 for $419, which is $200 off. We have a Lenovo IdeaPad 15.6-inch Core i5 for $549, which is $150 off. And we've got an Asus VivoBook Core i7 for $699, which is $150 off. And then one desktop, got a Lenovo Idea Center Core i5 for $599, which is $170 off. And we have a 1 terabyte SanDisk Ultra Plus SSD for $89.99. Again, check that this is not one of those that was mismarketed. I don't know that was SanDisk accused of that. I thought it was Western Digital and Seagate mainly that were accused of putting in the inferior
Mm-hmm.
NAND
I
instead
don't
of
remember
having
SanDisk being in that. Yeah.
Yeah. So check to make sure. But I have a couple of SanDisks I put in. I'm happy with them. We've got a couple of M2. I got Western Digital 500 gig SSD M2 format, 49. And then this is an interesting thing I fell across. This wasn't, I did this by just searching on components. This is a StarTech dual slot PCI, or not a PCI, I'm a SATA converter for M2 internal SSDs for $43, which I thought was really cool.
I
Huh?
see it. There's a real problem here, though.
What's that?
So M2 is a very fast interface. And one of the
SATA.
reasons you want to buy an M2, right, is because well, first of all, it's the form factor, right? But there's also the performance aspect. Here, you're putting 2 M2s on a SATA interface, which is a slower interface. So you're paying a premium for the form factor, true, but you're losing a lot in performance. So it's a very bizarre choice. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know who.
if you're maxed out, you don't have any available slots to put in the
Right,
M2.
but you're getting. So the thing I'm trying to say is you're getting even lower performance from a SATA connector, right? If all you need is all you have is a SATA option, then just replace the drive with a larger SATA and not with 2M. It's just a very bizarre choice. That's all.
I agree.
Yeah.
And if you have,
it's cool that somebody came up with this, but I don't think they're selling that well.
and if you need, I mean, you have to have SATA port to plug it into.
Well, and you'll
if
have
you,
a SATA port in a laptop, right? But
yeah, it's not
where
for
you're
a laptop.
replacing
But the thing is, if you have a SATA available on the board, you can buy a large SATA drive, and if you don't have a bay, just put it on the bottom of the case. Just let it lay there. I have one computer that just double-sided sticky tape hold the drive to the bottom of the case, and it's plugged in.
You do know that
separation have no meaning. So
you do know that voids the warranty. It says no sticky tape.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, it voids the warranty for the sticky tape. You're right.
Because it says cannot be attached to a device that gets hot.
Yeah, that's kind of. I agree with Gal. This is counterproductive.
So if I bought this for you, you wouldn't use it?
No.
There's only one use case I can think.
What?
There's only one use case I can think here. As Gal mentioned, a laptop. This could be a way to get more than one drive into a laptop if you need that and just don't have, there's only
If-
room for one SATA drive.
Yeah, but get a bigger drive, right?
Yeah,
I
you
think
could,
it'll be
but
cheaper than buying two M2s and this, because
I
M2
can't
is
think of a
already
reason.
more expensive.
The other thing I could think of, God, would be one of those maybe one of those little micro computers or something that has one SATA interface, maybe. But again, I can't think of many use cases for it.
I can
No.
think of one. You will want two drives if you're doing something like a RAID.
Okay.
But then
Yeah, there you go.
the performance impact here is just terrible because you're
Yeah.
using this single interface to do multiple M2s. You're losing on the M2. You already overpaid, right? And you're paying something doesn't feel right about this interface. That's all.
Maybe it's a gag.
But remember,
It's
not
not
all
real.
M2s are NVMe.
Was it produced? Was it issued on April 1st?
Could be. I don't know. Like I said, I just stumbled across this.
No,
and said,
I agree. It's very
Yeah.
cool, and it got me thinking. And I'm trying to. There's something very cool about the solution. I'm with you. I was intrigued from all of the items you put today. This one was the one I was most intrigued on. So I know exactly why you put it there, but I'm trying to think. Okay, this is cool. Where do I put it? And I can't. I mean, we talked about a couple of weeks ago about the external M2
holder.
interface. You remember that?
Yeah, the adapter you had. Yeah.
That one, right? Even if you're losing bandwidth, although I'm not sure you're losing bandwidth for the USB 3, that one is awesome, right? Because it has this usability to it. I mean, I'm thinking maybe you want a RAID solution on a laptop,
So
a
that's
RAID-like, but
I'm
there's a
looking at the
performance hit.
looking at the Amazon description, and the first word is create a high performance storage with configurable RAID. Dual slot M.2 to SATA adapter supports multiple RAID types: RAID 0, RAID 1, spanning
So
or
it
JBOD.
has a built-in RAID controller. Now that starts to
No,
make
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
So you
what
get
this is for. If you
RAID
want to
on
have
a
a RAID
laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with one drive slot. So that makes
Okay.
sense. That's an interesting device.
Because if the RAID controller is built in, right? Then then you have high performance for the mirroring and all. I mean, mirroring will be the best solution here anyway, right? And then you're not really losing on the interface of the SATA because the M drives are faster. So yeah,
Let me tell you this.
now.
This is meant
Now I'm
for RAID
impressed.
because it says the SSD adapter also supports non-RAID operation when paired with a port multiplying SATA controller. So its main use
Okay.
for this is for RAID.
So for the price, this is cool.
This is
Okay,
cool.
so
Yeah, if you have a
now I need to
laptop
buy
with a
two.
yeah,
The reason you need to buy two is because if one fails, you still need an identical RAID controller to
got
restore.
great
So-
reviews.
If this existed when I was in the corporate world with my laptop, I would have bought it because
It's got
Yeah.
15
would
Now it
solve-
makes sense. Yeah.
I had to make backups to a USB drive when I was traveling, or if I had critical stuff I wanted to make sure it didn't get toasted. It was difficult.
Yeah, it's got 1,500 reviews on Amazon with a 4.5 star. So obviously it
That's
suffices for
impressive.
what people are
Yeah.
using it for.
Mhm.
Yeah. Cool grab, Spence.
Yeah, and it was just me stumbling through it I clicked on computer peripherals and I went to storage, and this was there. So that's what I found.
There's the link for
Yeah.
it on Amazon. It's it's actually cheap. It's $1 cheaper on Amazon.
Oh, with free shipping.
The same. It's
There
a
you go.
StarTech.
Same device.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah, I didn't dig deep enough into the description because all I did was see this.
All right.
Ooh.
So let's go.
All right, moving on. All right, Epson EcoTank ET2800 all-in-one super tank printer. So it has 4 tractor trailers that sit outside with ink tanks connected by hoses to your printer. It's a great deal for $199. But I don't know.
Isn't the super tank the aircraft that
Yeah.
brings water? Right?
That's it.
So you got an aircraft hovering above your home, supplying ink.
I did
you,
buy.
you call them and you say, "Can I have a red?"
Yeah, could you deliver some red to the house?
And then in Google Earth, suddenly your house is platted red.
That's it. I did buy years ago a printer that had ink tanks, separate ink tanks. I can't remember if it was
Yeah.
Brother.
I
don't know
think
if it was
Epson.
Brother.
A lot of
And-
them have. A lot of them
Yeah.
had it.
Had at the time, and then the print heads were separate.
Yeah,
And there
and-
were actually tiny pipes that would go out to the print heads from the tanks, and it worked good for
And
like
a
2
lot
years.
of
And
people,
then,
and a lot of people burned that head,
yes, and you couldn't
and
replace
then
it.
it was real expensive to fix.
Yes, you had to replace the whole carrier.
Yep.
You couldn't just replace like with a separate ink cartridge, and the print head was built into the ink. You just swap it out.
Yep.
And this, I was very disappointed at the end of this. I spent good money on it, and it worked well till it failed, and then I was screwed. So I lost one color, and that was it. I can't use it anymore unless I just used it for black. Yeah, it was.
All right.
It was a great idea, and that made it a lot easier to refill the cartridges too, because you just refilled the tank. Took the tank out. So, oh well. All right. So, if you have a machine, whether it's a laptop or desktop, in a part of your house with weak signal, you don't necessarily have to go out and put in a mesh system. You can try the TP-Link AC 1900 high gain dual band USB adapter. And it'll work with any machine with a USB connection. $49.99. I have installed this in some businesses when you had a machine like in the back of a warehouse or just in a part of the building where there was not good coverage, and it worked rather well. And if you'd like to get into the AX environment for the same price, if it is a desktop, and you have a PCI slot open, you can try the TX3000E, which is an AX network adapter from TP-Link with an external antenna. Very cool, because you put in a PCI slot, run the cable out, and now you've got a great way of connecting to AX networks.
Mm-hmm.
For a machine that you can't, either not compatible, has an old adapter in it, like a laptop that isn't upgradable. I've never upgraded the Wi-Fi in a laptop. I know it's possible. I just have never done it. But $49. Got an Acer 23.8 monitor, FreeSync, $129.99. I remember saying about if you go below 24, it's a little cheaper, but not. I guess this is a 23.8 class monitor, which means is it really 23.8, or just labeling it that, even though it's less. So hard to distinguish. And finally, we've got 128 gig micro SD card Ultra Plus from SanDisk, 128 gig for $29, which is $5.60 off. Check to make sure that the device you're putting this in supports 128 gig. So I'm finding there are cameras out there that have SD card slots in them that support recording directly to SD card. And in a lot of cases, it's either 32 max or 64 max. 128 is not addressable because of whatever the firmware is on the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So take a look at that. But this is a V10 high speed, direct to card video recording capable. So class 10 SD card.
Thanks, Spence.
Oh, you're welcome.
Appreciate. So yeah, there's a story about TVs. Where is it? Pricing right now on TVs is the highest since at least 2012. Says Stephen Baker, Vice President of Industry Analysis at NPD Group. Holiday pricing overall is likely to be at least $100 above normal. Last year, the average price of a TV was $363 during the fourth quarter, which is fairly typical over the last few years. This year, our forecast is for the average price to be approximately $500. For a lot of shoppers, a $500 TV sounds pretty affordable, but that's the average of every TV sold in the US. The majority are entry level models with small screens and modest features. I mean, when they're talking about 40 some inch, that's small. Modest features that bring down the average. TVs come in a wide range of prices and sizes, and the higher average selling price will impact smaller, cheaper models more than larger, more expensive ones. In fact, high dollar TVs are selling better than ever, which of course helps drive up the average price. Sales of TVs over $1,500 are at record levels, and sales of TVs 75-inch and above are performing much better than the overall market. So think about it. Hopefully there may be some used ones out there that people want to upgrade.
The cheapest I'm finding for a 4K, it's a 43-inch, is $269
Okay.
for an Insignia on Amazon. You can get let's see, you can get a Toshiba for $289, a Vizio for $289,
What?
a
What?
TLC, and they're all smart TVs. They either have Android TV or Roku or Fire TV built in. I'm sorry. What was your question?
No, I was going to say what did you search for?
I searched for a 41-inch 4K and a 42-inch, and they're all 43s. So I guess that's the sweet spot, 43. I'll also go over and check at Walmart because they have some incredible end cap deals at times. So that would be nice. It would really help me if I had one screen here. My other setup where I have my business machine and do a lot of my work, my invoicing and bookkeeping over there, that doesn't matter. But on this setup here, having one screen would be really helpful.
All right. So Canon, best known for manufacturing camera equipment and printers for business and home users, is being sued for not allowing customers to use the scan or fax function in multifunction devices if the ink runs out on numerous printer models. David Leecraft filed a class action lawsuit against Canon USA, alleging the company engaged in deceptive marketing and unjust enrichment practices. That is ridiculous to not allow somebody to use. I have an HP inkjet printer scanner that it doesn't even have ink in it. All I use it for is a scanner. Works fine. Why does Canon have to do that?
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with bad marketing practice or anything, just incompetent engineers. That's all. Canon isn't a software company. They're terrible at software.
Unbelievable.
And that's all. That's literally, I'm telling you, that's the reason. And that's probably also the reason they're going to quote in court. And if it'll ever get to court, because now that if a lawsuit like this becomes public, then they'll probably just issue some sort of software update and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
come
just plain
on.
incompetence. At the beginning, all of the multifunction printers were like this. It's because it's that they had a single fail-safe logic, and if something doesn't work, nothing works, right? It's pure incompetence. It has nothing to do
Amazing.
with being malicious, but yeah, it's terrible.
I want to just ask a question. It's kind of off the subject we're on right now, but I'm searching on Amazon, and what the heck is an explosion-proof LED screen?
That
Oh.
means if you're
I can explain actually.
So it withstands an explosion. It's like, oh, it's still my TV still works. My house is laying in toothpicks, but my TV still good. You know,
Well,
what does it mean?
it's basically mil standard for screens. It's really shock resistant, right?
Okay. Because there is a brand out there that sells this thing called Smart Voice TV, 4K, support mobile phone projection, wall mount, Wi-Fi, USB, 6-core, 450 GPU. I mean, I never saw a TV advertised for its processor before, but kind of interesting. H.265 built-in encoding, 2 gig of RAM, 8 gig of ROM.
Now,
This is
H.265, that's important, right?
Yep.
So for our listeners, right, that's a piece of information that you want to see, because if you're using it's approximately 10-factor reduction in bandwidth, right? So if you want to watch 4K, you want 265.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
And this starts at 32 inch for 263, and they have a 42 for 392. Very interesting. So
yeah, it will withstand an explosion, but if it falls off the table, it'll burn.
well,
Anyway,
I don't think the explosion is my big problem.
no,
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
No, but it you can put it in an industrial area.
Yeah.
Where there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of dust, there's a lot of vibration.
Vibration.
And it'll be and it'll survive. Yeah.
This is the one you want to take with you if you jump out of airplanes.
While you're in the middle of watching TikTok
I mean,
video.
Most people do that, right? Yeah, parachutists take a TV with them.
So anyway,
you work in a coal mine?
For its 60th anniversary, Fisher-Price announced a special edition chatter telephone that can make and receive real phone calls. Before you start planning on where to display it at your home, know that it doesn't work as a landline unit. It connects to your iOS or Android phone via Bluetooth instead, and has to be within 15 feet of your mobile device to work. You'll get 9 hours of talk time on the chatter phone on a single charge, and it comes with the speakerphone button. Other than the features that make it a working device, this chatter for grown-ups looks just like its toy counterpart with its rotary dial, red handset, and wheels. You can get the fully functional chatter for $60 exclusively from Best Buy's website, starting last week until supplies last.
It does come with a kid's size handset. So, and it says, and it's funny on their webpage, it says a truly mobile phone because it has wheels.
So here's what I am. Do you still have a rotary phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have it.
Yeah. It doesn't work with
No. Well,
I mean, it used to work with the landline. Now that everything is VoIP, it doesn't work anymore.
I actually think the OB High can work with Pulse.
Well,
dialing.
it doesn't. I mean, I didn't know that it doesn't. I picked it up one day to show somebody, that phone that I built in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anything. You just go click, 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 click.
Well, you need to switch on. Pulse dialing, but I think it can work. What I'm interested in is to give it to my my 20-year-old son, right, and see if he can
Figure it
out how
out.
to dial out of it. There's
I
a
need
great
to look in.
TikTok video about a dad giving two of his sons a rotary phone and telling them, "You got 4 minutes. Dial this number," and they can't figure it out. It makes zero sense to them. It gives them zero clues. First of all of their tries from the beginning, they don't even pick up the headset. They try everything with the headset down. At the end, he gives them that hint, but they're still doing the dialing wrong. It's hilarious. So
I need. I think I have some desktop phones.
yeah,
Here's a
Spence,
really
say
nice
something.
old-fashioned rotary. This is a rotary phone. This is kind of interim phone. It's a stick phone based on the original stick phone, but it actually has a rotary dial on it. So this
Mhm.
is from the 1930s.
Cool.
And I got this, it was actually a lamp that somebody had, made it into a lamp. And my grandfather had it. And then he gave it to me and I took it off the lamp base. And it works. And it was originally spray painted gold, and I painted it black, and I don't remember why. But it actually did. I had it hooked up for a while. The problem was that the voice quality outbound was terrible because of the microphone was not great. But yeah, it's a cool conversation piece. Maybe I should clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put in a Raspberry Pi in it and
That's it.
make it a smartphone.
that's it. That's what I'll do. Bluetooth and walk around the
I
house
think
with it.
Rotary Bluetooth. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah. That's what the Fisher Price phone is, a rotary Bluetooth phone. It uses rotary dialing. So they have some circuitry built inside that probably, or you dial a 6, it puts out a 6 tone. Interesting. Or it waits to the end and then maybe it puts it together and then sends it out.
I think I still have one of the first push button phones. The very early ones were not really tone. You press 2 and it goes. Tick, tick. Yep. I think I have.
So it was
one
push button, but it was before touch tone, so it was still using pulses to tell the company what to do.
Yeah.
I've got a report. The fire alarm thing worked perfect.
Really?
Yeah, so it sent me an alert and it said, hold on a second here. It said,
How'd you trigger it?
I just played a video off YouTube.
Okay.
It said, possible smoke or CO2 alarm detected. And then it sends an audio clip so you can listen into the device and actually hear what's going on.
And this is through what?
The A-word device.
Oh, okay. Cool.
The only thing though is you have to have your device in guard mode. So I either need to figure out how to set it to automatically go to guard mode when I leave my house, because I won't remember to always put it in guard mode. So that's the next step. I could always leave it in guard mode, but then the devices are constantly spinning, indicating they're guarding something.
Or you can get a dot to do that and put it somewhere.
Yeah, actually, it's right. I could set just one device to do it, but then you've got to, like, if the one in the other side of the house goes off, I'm not sure this device will pick it up. Because I have 3 devices. I have I got a big unit in the living room, a small one here in the office, and a small one in my bedroom. But yeah, I mean, I just played the video off YouTube and it said, possible smoke or alarm, listen into this device, and it archived the audio from the alert, and then I could listen live to the device to hear if it was still going off. And then it asked me, was this the sound of a smoke alarm? So it tries to learn. But it's an interesting feature.
Nice. I thought you downloaded the video off of YouTube that simulates smoke smell.
Oh yeah, the Smoke-O-Vision. Actually, I do have a Halloween smoke machine, but I'm not sure that would set the alarm off. I could just throw a piece of toast or something in the oven and just let it go for about an hour and see what happens. But then that's I don't know how exactly that would work.
Yeah,
So
Pretty
but
good.
yeah, it appears to work. It's better than nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
I've never had my smoke alarm, but that's always been my thing. Is I go out of town a decent amount. I've got a cat now, so that's the last thing I want is to deal with that and have. Great to have a fire alarm, but only great if you're home. Doesn't really do a whole hell of a lot if you're not.
Gal, I had a question about the Roost product. Is that a fee-based thing or is it free?
No. One time fee.
Okay, good.
And so, I mean, when you buy the batteries the first time, it costs, I don't know, $20-$30, something like that. And when the battery is depleted, the replacement module is just about $10 or something. So
Yeah,
and it lasts a while.
It says last 3 to 5 years. That's what it says on their. I mean, for whatever that's worth, but that's what it says on the webpage.
But if you need it for yourself, right? There's a few spares at Amnon's. Check them out.
Yeah,
first.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have 6, and before they expired, I was using the Roost, and I bought replacement for them as well, and so I had like 10 lying around unused when I replaced them when they expired. So now I have the Z-Wave one, but I have a ton of Roost batteries that I haven't used. So use them.
The only problem you can run into with that Roost, and it's not an issue with the Roost, is like the smoke alarms that I have are the non-battery ones. They're not wired into the wall, but you use them until they stop working and you buy a new one.
It's got the 10-year built-in lithium battery.
I think it's a kit. I think it's either a Kidder or a First Alert, and they're not disposable, but they work until they don't, and you replace them. So you don't have to check.
Yeah, they'll start to chirp after 10 years from the time you.
Yeah, they chirp,
initialize.
or if they go off a number of times, it will obviously deplete the battery quicker.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I've got. So that for those you have to get either. I'm sure they probably sell either a Z-Wave or some IoT listener device, a little microphone thing that you could probably connect a Home Assistant and actually listen for that frequency, similar to what the Amazon device does, I would guess. They probably sell something like that.
Yeah. You can actually do it with, I'm trying to think. I think you can actually use the battery theoretically, right? Without plugging it in to any
does it
doesn't
listen
need to be inside
or,
because it works on the way it works is the microphone.
Oh, so it's not listen. So I thought the way that it worked was it detects drain on the battery.
I mean, it could. I think it's a lot simpler to just use the microphone.
Interesting. Okay, because I had assumed it noticed draw from a battery and just said, "Hey, something's drawing. Turn off or turn on." Or
yeah, but I think that will be a more expensive circuit. Surprisingly, instead of something that just triggers. But I mean, I might be wrong, but I do remember it has to do with the audio.
Gotcha. Okay.
There is an alternative to Nest that is called a one-link smart smoke and carbon monoxide detector. It's $85. That is a Wi-Fi detector.
Amazon sells one that's their brand, but it's $200 and it needs to be like inlaid in the ceiling.
The Nest Protect is only $103, so the prices have really come down.
Yeah, the
And
Amazon
that's
one is a
probably
big old
first
boy.
generation, second generation, third generation, and all that crap.
Yep.
So yeah.
And the First Alert one link.
Ring makes
Link, yeah.
Ring makes a double set if you have not even if you don't even need to have Ring stuff for $69 for 2 of them. That's not bad.
Is there a stupidity detector I can install like on my front porch that warns me when a dumbass is coming up my driveway?
The battery won't last long.
No, that's right.
Well, I was going to say, if I had that
go off too much.
If I had that in my house, I'd constantly be getting alerts.
No, the problem is there is, but it's stupid.
All right. Back to Facebook. The BBC is reporting that Facebook has been fined a record £50 million, British pounds, by the UK Competition and Markets Authority for deliberately failing to provide required information. That's pertaining to Facebook's 2020 acquisition of GIF sharing service Jiffy. Speaking about its decision to fine the social media giant, the CMA said in a statement, "This is the first time a company has been found by the CMA to have breached an order by consciously refusing to report all the required information." I mean, they probably won't pay £50 million, but I mean, it's interesting. They said that this was a record that before that it was in the thousands. And now it's like 50 million. There was never such a thing.
It sounds like a British version of GDPR, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
No, and the interesting thing, it sounds from the article like they already told them to do it, and they are on purpose. They're not sharing that information, or they're not reporting it. Let's put it this way.
yeah. I don't know. The fact that they got a fine, I don't find it that exciting.
No.
Because it can also mean a clerical error at the end, right? Like
Extra zero.
they got a fine, but some technicality will clear them from that fine. You understand what I mean?
No.
So it's what I mean is it's not like the courts have ruled them as abusive. That's what I mean. So it's not like it went to court, it passed all the process, and
Oh.
yeah.
Anyway.
Somehow I think we won't hear about it again. It's like it won't be news.
And some more news about the A word. According to a survey from reviews.org, the Echo collects more data from users than any of the other digital assistants analyzed, which include the Google Assistant, Siri, Bixby, and Cortana. This is from PC Magazine. So Amazon is taking is spying on you the most. Interesting.
So here's the way I read this, right?
Yeah.
Is people are using Amazon for a lot more things.
That's absolutely, yeah, okay. No,
Right?
but they were talking. I mean, in the article, they were saying that the other ones get your name and this and that. With the Echo, they're getting a whole lot more stuff.
Right. Everything is optional, right? Everything is optional there, because I do remember when setting it up, everything is optional. You can switch off almost everything. But if you use it for, I don't know, purchases, then it has your credit card information.
Yeah.
So, it links to. So that's why I'm thinking, yeah, it's because these are actually the ones that are most in the homes and are probably being used most. That's why I'm thinking that's the case. I might be wrong. I mean, they might be the one. But when you read pieces like that, I mean, there's a clear agenda. It's not, especially by the title, right? If it's in the title that way, then there's an agenda behind the article of trying to show foul play by someone. When I'm not saying that it's bad, it's good or bad. I'm saying there's something fishy about the article. That's all,
Well,
right?
Go fishing.
Don't go into hysteria because of
No,
this.
and
That's
don't
all,
go into
right?
hysteria.
Yeah.
Don't go
Yeah.
into hysteria about any of these articles.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Yesterday, which was last week sometime, Roku told customers that it's unable to strike a deal to bring YouTube and YouTube TV apps to its channel store, citing anti-competitive demands in carriage agreement. These included asking Roku to create a dedicated search result row for YouTube within the Roku Smart TV interface and demanding certain features on Roku that they don't insist on getting from other streaming platforms. This is coming from Axios. Now, a leaked email has surfaced allegedly showing that Google did, in fact, ask Roku for special search treatment for YouTube, an allegation that Google had previously called baseless. So it's sort of like mudslinging a little bit back and forth between them. But
Yeah, it's a power grab. They're trying to prove that they can ask for something that others can't
Yeah.
get. I mean, good for Roku.
absolutely,
I'm with Roku here.
and you think about it, what are they going to change everything on all the TVs and stuff? Apps for what?
I'm guessing that part is not. It's not the technical part that is the problem, right? I'm thinking that's solvable. But there is no reason for YouTube to have any special treatment on
No.
Roku, and I think the way the Roku works and the way it hooks up to the rest of its applications and ecosystem is great, and there's no real need for them to modify it just because some brand, be it YouTube, right,
Right.
doesn't want to play fair. So yeah.
I mean, even when I was thinking back, when we started using Plex, there was a Plex built in. And it wasn't doing everything that you wanted it to do.
You're talking about the Samsung.
Maybe it was on the Samsung. I don't remember. But
Yeah.
the point is, okay, so it's fine. Just download that app and everything
Yeah.
is
So
on the Roku you could download the YouTube app and put it on, and then you have whatever Google want them to have
but
in.
that's what they're talking about. They're talking about
Being-
not putting the YouTube app because it's not hooked up. So Roku on the main page, other than choosing the apps and going into it, there is a search option. And when you search there, it sends a search. There's a search API. It sends the search to those apps as well. So if you search on your homepage, it actually sends the search request to everything that you have installed, including Plex.
Okay.
And so you get a result from your Plex server without even going to the Plex application.
Okay.
Okay. So that's what they want there. They probably want a way of, from the front page, of controlling how the results will look. Probably because the way they do featured results and stuff like that, right? They want the complete experience, etc., to be on the the main search interface. That's my guess. I haven't went into it, but and that's where Roku says, no, you don't control the search results. I control the search results on my platform. And I
You're
mean,
here.
if you go into the application and you search there, yes, full control of the search results by the application. They're talking about an interface outside, and somehow YouTube is putting. I think what YouTube thinks here, they're thinking that with news like this coming out, they might have get public opinion to support them and put pressure on Roku, but I think the result will be the other way around.
Yeah.
And Roku will win this battle.
Everybody that I know that has a Roku loves it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is, and I stand by this. I'm nothing against the Amazon Fire units, but I just, in terms of set-top box streamer, I think Roku hands down has the best devices. It's just not even close.
By the way, I'll give you a tip. there's an application. If you're okay with Hebrew subtitles, right? There's no. Trust me, no joke. If you're okay with Hebrew subtitles, there is a fantastic Roku app which came out in the last couple of weeks called Zdarot. And what it gives you free access to probably every series you can think of. It's basically a pirated service that's targeted at Israelis who live abroad and want to watch content from home, but it includes everything with Hebrew subtitles. So, and they have a Roku app. So just download that. Anything you want to watch, you can watch. All you need, if you are not paying, you can pay for premium access. If you're not paying for premium access, it's just you wait 30 seconds for the episode to load. That's the only downside. So if there's a series that you're not subscribed to some sort of service that shows it, let's say there's an HBO Max series that you don't have HBO Max, or there's a Hulu series and you don't have Hulu or something like that, trust me, Zdarot, Sdarot, search for that in the Roku store and you have access.
And Sdarot literally means series.
Yeah, it means series. Yeah. It's a transliteration of the word
Yeah.
series in Hebrew. Yeah.
You can also watch their stuff online too.
Yeah. Sdarot.tv.
Sdarot.tv, yeah.
All right. Let's switch gears completely here a second. The Food and Drug Administration approved a virtual reality-based treatment for children with visual disorder amblyopia, or lazy eye. The company behind the therapy announced. The Verge reports that Luminopia's approach uses TV and movies to develop the weaker eye and train the eyes to work together. Patients watch the show or movie through a headset that shows the image to each eye separately. The images shown to the stronger eye have a lower contrast, and the images are presented with overlays that force the brain to use both eyes to see them properly. Kids using the therapy and wearing glasses had more improvement in their vision than similar group of kids who did not use the therapy and just wore corrective glasses full-time during a clinical trial of the technology. After 12 weeks, watching the shows 1 hour per day, 6 days per week, 62% of the kids using the treatment had a strong improvement in their vision. Only around a third of the kids in the comparison group had similar improvement over the course of the 12 weeks. This is nice to see.
This is really cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
And so parents, if you have a kid that has what called a lazy eye, I guess it's even adults. I don't see why it has to be just
Yeah,
kids.
no, but you usually treat it in
Yeah,
kids because that's when it's detected.
That's
Yeah.
when it shows up.
So this is great.
Who is this? The FDA that approved this?
Yeah.
Well, it's about time because they were so anti-telemedicine and everything until COVID, and then they're like, "Oh, actually, this is a pretty effective thing and it works."
Yeah, well, it's not really telemedicine, but yeah, it
No,
still,
but it's a form where they would say
really
prior,
cool.
"Oh, no, you need to go to a doctor, you need to go pay this, you need to go pay that."
Yeah,
That was their big
I
business.
agree. That's
so the name of the company is Luminopia. 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 Very interesting. I read it. Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in grade school, we had a few kids that wore those glasses that one was blocked and the other one was, it's like they were covering that eye. and I guess it's still going on. So that's neat.
Yeah, and they say what I find cool. They compared it to, like, the study was seems to be legit, and it compared it to the traditional way
Mhm.
of using of and that's slow. That's really slow. That's known to be a very slow process.
Yeah.
And here they saw improvement in a very
And
short
the
time compared. That's great.
and it's probably kind of fun for the kid because they're watching a show for
Yeah,
an
well, you know,
hour,
kids
and
sitting
it's
an hour with something on their head without.
well,
I doubt they enjoy it, but it still sounds like a great solution because, yeah, if they can choose the content, then it's an hour of treatment that they might even agree to.
mhm.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yep. All right. I think it's Apple introduced a new set of App Store guidelines last Friday. One of the changes is the result of a previously announced settlement agreement with class of US app developers. It clarifies that developers are allowed to communicate with their customers about other payment methods available outside their app. Related to this, another new guideline explains that apps may request customer information like name and email, but the request must be optional for the user and shouldn't prevent them from using the app. The third guideline is unrelated to legal action and simply details how developers can use the new App Store features called in-app events, which rolls out next week. So now they can tell people about different payment options.
Oh, this was a court order. They lost
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
the only thing they lost in that lawsuit against Epic was
Yeah.
the fact that they needed to allow other processors or other companies to do processing of microtransactions and in-app purchases. And I'm pretty sure they're gonna appeal that if they haven't already. But for the time being, they're gonna have to put that in place. So it'll be interesting to see how it works. And this
Yeah.
will be big for companies like PayPal that can hopefully now integrate with these apps directly. This will be big for them.
Yeah. There was a story also about Epic that I read that a lot of people there are very unhappy because Epic now says that apparently they had every other Friday off
Yeah, they did.
and they can't do that paid.
Yeah,
And
they had
they
to
said
close every other Friday.
no more, and there was some other things
What's
related.
this?
Epic.
Yeah, no. What has changed? And I do know there's free games still. So
No,
what's
no, no,
changed?
no. That's their employees. Every
They used to have every other. I have a friend that works at Epic. They used to have every other Friday off. The company was just closed.
Okay.
And they've now changed that policy. They're now they're requiring that. But
yeah,
I mean,
and a lot of people
they
are
were pretty
saying-
clear in their statement. This was not meant to be a permanent thing. They did this temporarily,
Yeah.
and it's gotten to the point now where they want their workers back on Friday. So if people don't like it, go find another job.
Oh,
Plain and simple.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Welcome to the real world.
You know what? That is actually, now that I'm thinking of it, right, from the point of view of an employer, giving your people that option and then taking it away, the ones that will stay are the ones that actually enjoy working.
It's not an option. They were literally closed. It was not even an option. The company was literally closed.
Yeah, still. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is you give this, right? You give this benefit and then you take it away.
Yeah.
Those who will remain are those who actually like working there.
Yeah.
Right? It's
No, they'll have
Interesting.
a good group of people.
yeah.
I have to text my friend and see what her thoughts on the whole situation is. It was very convenient.
Well, it also probably means if there's going to be a wave of people leaving just because of that, there's going to be a wave of hiring. So
This is also true. I mean, Epic and every other business.
Interesting.
All right. I guess that'll do it for today, huh?
Yeah, quick note, still running Windows 11. Everything's still going well. No issues. So still encourage people to upgrade.
Still can't move the taskbar to the side.
Besides that, and I'm sure, again, there has to be an app for that. I'm sure Classic Shell or something will do it.
It's interesting. It's completely by choice. It's Microsoft taking the Apple approach of we know best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of treating your users as kindergarten kids that you need to choose for them, and saying we want to force you to do this. And I like my screen real estate, and I think the bottom costs more than the side, and I want it on the side. And
well, the good news is there's a registry edit for it. So,
do we know anybody that their machine was upgraded automatically, or it's still unique?
No, I don't think so.
No. They won't do it automatically for sure.
Okay.
Never.
Good.
That's part of the well, I said never. That's part of the ethics of a major version change. It is always needed. I think their problem would actually even be on a legal level, because they need you to click I accept to the new legal agreement of the new major version application once they chose it to be a major version. So I doubt it'll be automatic ever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Unless they can control your finger to the key, and
They can try.
All right. Well, thanks, guys,
Thank you.
for being here. Next Sunday we change the clock.
Yes, we do. Right? No.
We're going to have new numbers on the clock?
I thought it's the first Sunday in November. I think
It's
next Sunday's the
either that-
31st.
It's either that or Facebook changes its name. So
All right, so it's another 2 weeks. Never mind. Okay, so thanks, Gal. Thanks.
Yeah, November 7th, so 2 Sundays.
All right. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
And thank you, Spence.
All right.
And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dina, Arlington, Micha, Eleanor, Sarid. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing, back up your hard drive, and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, remember, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on WAAV in Wilmington, 980 The Wave. And Nick, I can never remember the FM station.
Well, most people aren't down there, but you can also download the podcast of it, Wilmington's Morning News.
Okay. And Tuesday at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. Just go to Twitch at 7 in the evening on Tuesday, and it's twitch.tv/infection podcast, one word, no spaces. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.